Juggalos in recovery. Juggalos in recovery.
Lost at the carnival, anxiety amidst the familiar. Life is a complex journey filled with twists and turns, often throwing unexpected challenges and situations our way. These unforeseen circumstances can trigger a range of emotions, including anxiety and discomfort. Anxiety is a prevalent mental condition, has the ability to surface even in the most familiar and comforting environments, leaving us with a profound sense of unease and disorientation. In the song Lost at the Carnival, the lyrics intricately illustrate the profound experience of anxiety within a typically enjoyable and safe space. So, what we're going to talk about is exploring this theme of dealing with anxiety within familiar settings. So, in the carnival, that's the setting. We're going to delve into the intricate tapestry of emotions, thoughts, and challenges we might encounter when feeling lost in this vibrant chaos of a carnival. So, the carnival is an enchanting realm steeped in tradition and synonymous with joy and excitement. This sets the stage for the unfolding narrative of the song. In its essence, the carnival is a cherished place that evokes a sense of comfort, familiarity. It's filled with vibrant colors, laughter, and the eager anticipation of shared experiences with loved ones. The initial moments in the song are characterized by the warm presence of family as parents guide their children through big old crowds, fostering a deep seated feeling of security and belonging. However, as the song goes, it vividly portrays the atmosphere suddenly shifting, casting an ominous shadow over the once idyllic scene. A heart wrenching separation from the parents occur, wrenching apart the bonds of familiarity and trust, while instilling a hint of fear and uncertainty. This abruptness of this unexpected change reverberates throughout the carnival, shattering the tranquil atmosphere and becoming a catalyst for the anxiety, and stealthily takes hold of the protagonist in the song and makes them feel vulnerable. So this is a great song for why we're talking about this, because even in the very beginning of the song, it describes something that's so similar to just a normal adventure through the carnival, and then with a snap of a finger, all of a sudden it's terrifying, it's different, you're nervous about everything, and nothing feels right. And that's a great example of what anxiety can feel like. So, with trepidation gripping their heart, they embark on a solitary journey deeper into the crazy labyrinthine expanse of the carnival. Each step forward introduces them into a new realm of unsettling experiences and unfamiliar environments that lurk within its whimsical facade. The lyrics intricately paint a picture of the disconcerting expedition where the protagonist finds themselves entangled in a bewildering maze of mirrors, their reflections morphing and becoming distorted and weird looking. They don't recognize themselves anymore. This distorted reality reflects that inner turmoil and mounting anxiety that you can feel when anxiety attacks may hit, or when you just get really bad anxiety in a situation that just may feel normal. In the midst of this disconcerting adventure, they stumble into the infamous tilted room where the laws of gravity seem to mock their sense of stability. The disorientation of the room's skewed angles heightens their unease, as if the very fabric of reality was being warped. Furthermore, the carnival comes alive in the glow of the black light, revealing a haunting array of fears and strange and unearthly faces. They all come out of the shadows, casting macabre illusions that play upon the protagonist's deepest anxiety. So the darkness, the flickering lights serve to intensify that sense of being lost in otherworldly realm. So this is another great example of how anxiety can appear in a familiar scenario with sudden distortions of your own reality where you don't recognize things that were once familiar because you've got this weirdness going on in your brain. Nothing feels quite right, even if you recognize what it is. So, as they navigate through the uncertainty, another source of distress emerges: the absence of the recognizable faces. So, the once familiar carnival filled with all of the joyful interactions now becomes this sea of strangers. The absence of familiar features and comforting presence amplifies the growing sense of unease. To add to the disconcerting ambiance, unconventional characters roam the carnival grounds, their enigmatic presence serving as a constant reminder of this unknown that's lurking just beneath the surface. And this is kind of another really interesting example is if you're in a familiar scenario and then there's something really new that's popping up or something you just can't quite recognize, it can really heighten the anxiety in a situation where you're not able to recognize what's happening in that moment because there's something new, there's this new element. It could be something simple. And that's why we're talking about what all of this is. So, in this disorienting landscape, the carnival once exuded all of this familiarity and excitement. It becomes an unpredictable and foreboding place. This combination of distorted mirrors, tilted rooms, the haunting blacklight, the absence of familiar faces, and the weird characters that happen to be wandering around traditional carnival grounds kind of can make for a nightmarish type of reality. So the big thing is, while there is this overwhelming desperation to reunite with their parents, they end up just wandering through this really scary reality where they don't recognize anything. That's no longer fun for them. Everything's terrifying. And when they do finally end up running into their parents again, they're twisted. They don't make sense. They look different and they no longer recognize them. Everything that was familiar to them because of how bad their anxiety ended up getting throughout this adventure, they no longer have anything that comes to comfort them. But this is just part of the issues with anxiety. So, within the lyrics of the song, a profound sense of entrapment and eternal struggle against anxiety is depicted. They're now acutely aware of their own ghostly existence, uh, confronting the harsh reality that they're caught in. And it's something like an inescapable labyrinth because of their own fears, their own anxiety. And something that was something so familiar, something so fun, has now turned into this just macabre manifestation of their own mindset. As they continue their desperate search for that exit, they become aware of how unrelenting their anxiety has become. The carnival is transformed into this physical manifestation of all of their fears, all of their uncertainties, all of their anxiety. And it just feels like something they can no longer get out of. Anxiety knows no bounds and can infiltrate the most familiar and comfortable spaces. Lost at the Carnival eloquently captures that experience of an anxiety attack or just super high end anxiety within a setting that's typically associated with happiness and enjoyment. So it serves as a poignant reminder that anxiety can emerge unexpectedly, even in places where we consider safe or familiar. So by delving into the journey through the characters, the fear, the disorientation, they shed a little bit of light on the overwhelming nature of what is anxiety. So, in the narrative of the song, the carnival initially represents this place of comfort and excitement where family and loved ones come together to create this joyful memory. However, the sudden separation from the parents disrupts this sense of security and introduces this new form of fear and uncertainty. This unexpected change acts as the catalyst for anxiety to take hold, highlighting the vulnerability we can experience even in those environments. As the characters venture further into the carnival alone, a series of unsettling experiences and environments unfold. Lyrics depict the maze of mirrors, the tilted room, the fears, the black light, which magnify the anxiety and intensify the feeling of being lost in an unfamiliar and disorienting place. The absence of recognizable faces and the presence of the unconventional characters within the carnival contribute to a growing sense of unease. Those details emphasize the dissonance between the expected and the reality, capturing the essence of what is anxiety and its ability to distort our own perception. In the face of anxiety, it becomes crucial to develop coping mechanisms and strategies to navigate the overwhelming emotions and challenges that arise. One such approach is just mindfulness, which involves just allowing ourselves to exist in what is the present and observing our own thoughts and feelings without judgment. This practice can help us acknowledge and accept our anxiety while reducing the power it holds over us. Another one that we have is just deep breathing. Sitting there and regulating your own breathing so that you're not hyperventilating and not exacerbating your stress further feeding into your anxiety. So also we also have the option of seeking support from loved ones or mental health professionals that can give us the normal talking to somebody that can give us an outside perspective of our own reality just in case we're somehow perceiving it incorrectly. Engaging in these simple self-care activities are essential for managing anxiety. The simple self-care can involve engaging in hobbies, practicing relaxation techniques, getting regular exercise, getting good sleep, eating correctly. Simple shit. But also just teaching yourself about that and being aware of anxiety can empower yourself to understand that condition and recognize triggers or warnings by just being aware of your own self and being aware of when things start to go a little weird. It's important to remember that everyone's experience with anxiety is unique, and what works for one person may not work for another. So it's crucial to find coping mechanisms and strategies that resonate with oneself with time, patience, and a compassionate approach. You can't always just give a shit about all of your anxiety all at once, but if you can just learn a little bit about what works for you and what doesn't, that's better than just going in and being like, you know what I need right now to be so concerned about what's feeding my anxiety that I feed into it a little bit more. Does anybody else have any other experience with anxiety that they can share?
You talk about being in familiar places and not having any recognition of who you are. I had a anxiety attack when I go to town. It's always pretty anxious because I live out in the middle of nowhere. So you go to town, you get around a bunch of people, anxiety level gets way up. One day I had a panic attack. It was so bad. I was in a place that I used to be homeless. I knew that street. I knew the whole area. I'd been there a billion fucking times. I've walked around that whole fucking city more times than I can count. I knew it, but I didn't know it at the same time. It was this weird fucking feeling. And like I knew myself, but I didn't know myself at the same time. And I had this weird disassociative. It was fucked. I wandered around downtown like trying not to cry and flipping the fuck out, and ended up wandering into a bar and getting myself a drink and crying in a beer until my brother could pick me up because I got lost in a place that I'd been a million times. Anxiety's a motherfucker.
Yeah,
It's something I
it's
struggled with pretty often throughout my whole life since I was a teenager. It's gotten better since I moved to the mountains, but like I said, we can't stay hiding in the mountains forever. I got to go make supply runs.
Yeah,
Oh boy.
exactly. What up, Taz?
What's up?
Monster, you got your hands up?
Got quick. I'm not gonna be on here long, but I got something to say right quick.
All
At the
right.
gathering this year, there will be a security guards at on deck at Juggalos in recovery.
Fuck yeah. I love that. Thank you so much, Taz.
Whoop whoop.
Hey, whoop, whoop. Uh, as you know, I'm working still, doing my security. I just my motherfucking 20 months.
Dope. I'm so proud of you, man.
Congrats,
I'm
man. Hell
ready
yeah.
for the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I can't stay long because I'm getting something to eat and just working. But I wanted to pop in and let y'all know this. So I told you what I would do for you, Chris. I got you, bro.
Man, I appreciate it so much. Thank you,
You already
Taz.
know,
Can't
brother.
wait to
You
see you
already.
again here in a month or two.
Yes, sir. Hey,
Yep.
another thing, Chris, when are you gonna be at the gathering, bro?
I'm gonna start making deliveries mid-June.
Okay. 4th of July, you better be at the gate.
Yep. I'll be in there probably a good 3 days beforehand because we got to
Well,
get all our sites set up.
the 4th of July, your homie's getting married.
Fuck yeah. I'll be there for you.
So, you know what I mean? I'm fucking loving life. I'm so glad that I'm sober. Like, that was the best choice that I could ever pick, bro. Is just live my life right. I got a job. I do security for concerts now. I'm not working, but I got people over there for you.
Hey, man, I
I will be
appreciate it.
gathering. You already know.
Yeah.
Well,
Whoop,
I'll
whoop, man.
later, all right? Chris, when's the
All
next
right,
meeting?
man. Next meeting should be Friday at 10:30, I
You
think.
gonna be on?
I should be on that one. I've been staying up a bit later, so I'm breaking my old man cycle.
Okay. Hey, I don't want to hear it. I just turned 42 last month.
Yeah, I know it. I just like my 6 a.m.
All right, guys. Whoop whoop.
All right, later, Taz. Take it easy. All right,
Peace,
back
bro.
to you, Monster. What did you have to say?
Oh, I was gonna say, like, I really feel what you said about that scarecrow. I didn't realize panic attacks were like a real thing until like somewhere in December or January, where I was like telling someone like, yeah, like half or like three-fourths of my day feels like kind of the Slayer song War Ensemble, because that's how fast like everything's moving. That's how intense it all feels. And then they were telling me like, damn, bro, like, are you for real? That sounds like a panic attack. Now it's like, no way. Like, nah, isn't that just something someone made up? But nah, it's true. And the more I think about it, the more I feel kind of embarrassed of it. Because, yeah, I feel you. I remember getting so many when I was younger that somewhere along the way it went from being like, instead of fear, it went to just being fight. Like, oh, I stopped being scared. Now I'm just like, now I just want to fight, take down whatever it is. But I don't know. It kind of sucks because I feel stuck in that mindset to some extent. Like, instead of embracing the fear, I got addicted to fighting it, and now I can't slow down. It's tough. Like, you've experienced it so many times, that's become like your new normal.
No, I dig that. Thank you for sharing that, Monster. Anxiety and panic are one of those things that feels almost uncontrollable. Do you recognize when you start to go into those modes?
Yeah, and I
Uh,
generally am able to stop myself before it gets out of hand like that. But that was a pretty bad day. The voices in my head were all working in unison to fuck me up pretty hard.
So when you
I
recognize it, what is your strategy to calm yourself down?
Well, at that point, I was looking for a beer. I was looking for any bar or anything I could go get a beer, but that's not my strategy now. I mean, breathing exercises are always big. Hyperventilating is an issue when I start to have a panic attack, so I got to make sure that I'm breathing normal and not over oxygenating because that'll only help heighten the anxiety. That sensation of feeling like I can't breathe.
I don't have one. I kind of have just figured it out, and to some extent, it's become so normal. If anything, it becomes like kind of an enjoyable thing. Like, oh, I'm in the animal instincts mode. I can't wait to rip you a new one, which is really sad to say because I don't think anyone should feel like that uptight to the point where they have to like constantly feel like they're on edge, ready to go at like a moment's notice.
No, that's
Yeah,
how the
that's
voices in my head keep me feeling all day, every day. Honestly, that's kind of like right on the edge, like always threatening my life and around every corner. Like, yeah, trying to keep me in a state of constant anxiety. But schizophrenia, man, it's a motherfucker and a half.
believe me, I feel it. It's one of those things, though. When you start to recognize those things, you need to be a little bit more aware of your own self, especially when you're in these familiar areas or something that should be relatively safe. I tend to think more like a robot, so everything is logical until other humans are involved.
I feel the same way. And I've been talking about that too in therapy recently, and it was like, oh, the reason you probably developed that sort of excitement for fear, creating fear is probably as a defense. You don't have to throw it away. You just have to figure out how to like move on from it and let go. Recognize that it's not your only option anymore. But it's tough, man, because yeah, it's like I don't know, it just get into it, don't recognize it, and then keep going, and then it's not until like three-fourths through the day, it's like, oh, I might have been way more on edge than I thought I was.
Yeah, no, I get that though. It's one of those things. It's really hard to register a shift in your own psyche when you're not just constantly focusing on it. Does anybody else have any other experience with anxiety that they'd like to share?
I get anxiety all the time, but I've just learned to stay away from people and end up just drawing or writing or listening to loud music because it's a lot safer than being around other people at times.
Agreed. Other people are the devil.
I feel that, yeah, I had to describe it with a picture recently, and the first picture I looked up was like a wolf with like all its fur standing up, and it basically like staring someone down, licking its teeth. I don't think that's a healthy type of anxiety at all. That's pretty horrible. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
wolves don't usually look at you unless they're like really like trying to get after you.
yeah,
Right.
that is a piss poor way to look at things, but I understand it at the same time.
Yeah, that picture describes like how in the zone I really am like three-fourths of the day, and I don't like it. I think I can live better.
Agreed. Well, you've come a long way already, and I know you can go further. So in time, I know you will have a better way to deal with it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Appreciate
Yeah,
the encouragement and support. Thanks,
always,
Chris.
always. I'm always going to be around for this. So, does anybody else want to share anything on anxiety before I end the recording?
What was the song you talked about? I completely joined late, but it sounded like a really good one.
It's Lost at the Carnival.
Found, I believe, right?
Oh,
Marvelous missing
Uh,
link found.
I believe so.
Oh, I haven't heard that one yet off the album. But yeah, I gotta listen to that. I've
Oh
been
yeah,
really feeling
missing
dude,
link
time,
lost and missing
world is
link
short.
found.
Oh,
So good.
They're
yeah,
they're one of my favorites of the second. They got to be my favorite of the second deck. Death
yeah.
Agreed.
I
Proof
was
was
just
dope though
talking to
too.
Enzo today about that. Time, the thing like found inspired me a lot at the moment. Take ownership of your happiness. If you're already happy, find a way to walk away. Time's precious,
Yeah,
bro. Spend it on the things you love and value. You can't get it
right.
back.
All right, and with that, I'm
I'm
gonna go
really
ahead
loving
and
that
stop.
album right now.
I'm gonna stop the recording.